If you're new to cake decorating, I want to show you some really simple, cool tricks. It's going to totally up the presentation of your cakes and desserts. One of my favorites is called spatula icing. Spatula icing is essentially making indentations on the side of your cake and on the top to create patterns. If you're struggling with icing your cake smooth, this is one of the best ways that you can cover your imperfections. It'll make it look really pretty and rustic looking. Let's start with spatula ribbons. You're definitely going to need a turntable for this technique because you're going to be turning it fast to create the ribbons up the side of the cake. I'm starting with a freshly iced cake, and the reason is if it crusts over a little bit, you're not going to get as smooth ribbons. It's best to also make sure your cake is iced pretty thickly because as we do this technique, we're going to be removing a bit of icing and you don't want to have any patches of the cake showing through. I have my turntable all set up with my little non-slip mat, which will help keep the cake from sliding around. I have a bowl here for any excess icing. I can go ahead and just scrape it off there. So the first thing you're going to do is place the spatula at a slight angle, and I'm going to go into the icing, but not all the way down to the base of the cake. And then I'm going to start turning. In a simultaneous motion, I'm going to slowly spin the turntable while moving the spatula upward. As you're spinning the turntable, try as much as you can to keep going until you reach the top. It's one continuous motion. If you stop, it's going to have a bit of a stop mark. And that's okay too. This cake is meant to look a little bit rustic anyway. So I'm going to stop when I get to the top edge of your cake and smooth down any icing that might be at the top edge. You can just go ahead and sweep those towards the center. To create the spiral effect on the top, I'm just going to place the tip of my angled spatula at a slight angle of the center of the cake, and I am simultaneously spinning the turntable and dragging my spatula through the icing all the way to the outer edge. Just like that. And that's how you do spatula ribbons, and now I'm going to show you how to do vertical lines. You can use a cake plate or a turntable for this technique because all you're going to do is just swipe a vertical line from the base of the cake all the way up the side. I'm going to start out with the tip of the spatula right there at the base of the cake. I'm going to press the icing so that it creates a deep impression without touching the cake underneath, and I'm going to drag the spatula upward, removing any excess icing on the spatula before I start the next line. I'm leaving a very small space between my swipes to keep the look of a ridge. And I'm going to go ahead and just repeat this process until the side is finished. I'm going to show you how to do some diagonal lines really quick. I can turn the turntable as I move around the cake without having to manually, turn a plate. So I have a little bit of a rough edge around the top here, and I'm just going to go ahead and smooth that in. And so that's how you do the vertical and the diagonal spatula icing. You can see spatula icing is a super simple technique. You can even finish it off with some sprinkles. This technique can be also used on sheet cakes, cupcakes, brownies, and even cookies.